Okay, this is the Puritan Bennett 980 Part 3, the patient setup. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit new patient. Now, this is pretty killer. Instead of having to memorize or use formulas and find the ideal body weight, if you know their ideal body weight, you can put it in, or just hit the gender of your patient, and if you know their height, it will go ahead and give you the optimal 6 mils per kilo. And so you can tap, you spin. Let's say I'm 5'7", so we're gonna go 67, right around there. So it already cranked me in at a tidal volume of 540 there. So for a male. Now here's our rundown. It's invasive because we're intubated. For us here at Advocate Broman, we're going to start off in an assist control mode, but we're going to use this VC Plus. And this comes up for us as a default. VC Plus is our PRVC, our pressure regulated volume control. It's a great place to start for us in our region. We are going to use flow triggering. Notice in this assist control mode, there is no spontaneous sections, because it's not SIMV, it's not a spontaneous mode. Now, as far as your regular settings, we'll just crank in little rate, eye time. Now, this flow sense, this is your trigger sensitivity. This is a little bit different than our Avias, because this has a pretty significant amount of bias flow in here. This is where you want to start. This will auto trigger if we turn this down any more than 3. There's a potential for more auto triggering of breaths. So leave your sensitivity at 3 for now. FiO2 is 100. It even can throw you in some quick alarm settings there. Let's just drop our PEEP in here. There we go. And then this is an inspiratory rise percent. You can leave it at defaults at 50, and that's generally okay for most. All right, now we hit start, and we are rocking. First thing we're going to show you, where is the alarm silence? Here we go. Here we go. Alarm silence, and it shows you your countdown there. Now, the way we have this set up is your mode, your parameters, and then your measured variables up top. We've set this up to mirror our mechanical ventilator assessment check. So you have exhale tidal volumes, your total rate, IE ratios, and then it gets pretty cool. You can tap on this, this keeps going, or you can spin this. There's your RSBI. You could change these to be whatever you want it to measure. And so this is up top. Pull this tab down, and it can give you all kinds of other settings at a glance, or hit it again, and you got big numbers here. Okay, we cancel. We're going to go back to the screen. Okay, we have our triple scaler here: pressure, flow, and volume. Mode. You tap down here at any time. It's going to take you back to if you need to make a mode change. Otherwise, close it. You can tap anywhere, anything, it'll take you into its settings. You need to make a change, no problem. Tap it, and you're there. Over here gets a little bit more interesting. You can get to your alarms here. There are tools over on that side, and manual vents. You're putting in blood gases and things. It's not important at this point in time. But here, just in alarms. So this is your upper crank. You have high and low tidal volumes. Here's your peak. Pretty much straightforward on the settings. As far as the screen, we showed you what was up top here. Again, you can roll this way, that way, tap down, give you more, tap more, and now you get a huge screen. Tap again. Now over here, some things that are hidden. There is standby. Okay? Or if you need to get back to the setup screen, you can do that. There he is again. Up there. Now, here are some of your respiratory maneuvers. Here's your inspiratory pause. It will give you static lung compliance, your plateaus. Expiratory pause is your auto peeps. You can do vital capacities, NIFs, your P.1s. So, you're moving along here, and you're going to do your plateau pressure. There's your maneuver. There's your inspiratory pause. And you would just hit start. And it is automated for your ease and comfort. So, what's going on the bottom here? Again, you could do some manual inspiratory pause here. Look, it just brought it right back up. Or you can do an expiratory or an inspiratory hold, or actually that's a mandatory breath, excuse me. You can change the volume of your alarms here. You can change how bright or dim the screen is. There's your expiratory pause, so you can get to it several different ways. This gets rid of alarms. There's your alarm reset. Of course, your alarm there. And then 100% O2 is there. Now, what is interesting about the 100% O2, on some of our machines it shuts off the PEEP compensation. This does not, which means if you disconnect this and you, it's going to blow condensation everywhere. So just be aware. Let's go ahead and close that, and I'll show you all the different various waveforms you can get to. So you just tap here. Now I can go to here. And man, we've got everything. Flow volume, pressure to time, flow to time scaler, volume to time, and we still have, here's all of your parameters, and still everything that you need for measurements. All right there. And you can graph them out, you can pause them, you can trend them, and that's where it kind of gets into some of these tools. You can go into other options and things like that. So the startup is pretty easy. Your invasive AC, you want VC plus because that's PRVC on here. Use your gender and height. Height is easy. You don't have to figure out anything. It will give you the ideal tidal volume. You can leave the ramp at 50, leave the sensitivity at 3 unless your patient is actually asynchronous and is having trouble cycling breaths, but that probably won't happen. That'll be very rare if it does. Close here. If you're like, nah, I don't want all of these waveforms on here, no problem. You just want a couple, no sweat. You got it. There's all kinds of different configurations that you can make with this. Personally, layout 3 is good enough for me. That way you have a flow to time to kind of check for flow limited airway disease and whatnot. And so we're going to put it in standby. Now it's going to say standby pending, and it won't go into standby if there's someone on the other end. So when we disconnect, it needs you to confirm it, or it's going to go right back into it. Confirm. Now we're in standby. If you put the cap back on here, it's going to come right back out of it and it's going to alarm. And if this tries to ventilate against an obstruction, it's going to go into a safety backup. And it's hard to get it out of there. So just know, don't cap these things and put a test lung on it, or will come right back out of standby. And that should cover pretty much the settings section here of the 30 Minute 90.